Todd and Aaron.
It's time for Q&A with TNA. By the way, that stands for Todd and Aaron.
All right. Well, welcome into Q&A with TNA, which stands for Todd and Aaron. My name is Aaron Montgomery. You can find us at oursuccessgroup.com. This fine gentleman right here is Todd Downing. Todd, how are you, sir?
Yo, Aaron, what is going on, man? How's your day going?
Yeah, it's going, man. We're rocking, we're rolling. We got all sorts of been just a online afternoon for me, so I'm excited to get to number 2 of 3 today.
Right, it was I would say, how would we describe that? A multimedia day.
Multimedia day, yeah.
Because you were at three to 4. I was supposed to do Omniprint from 4 to 5. I just totally skipped out on that one. We got this from 5 to 6, and then we got office hours following this 6 to 7. Right?
That's right. And then you were on at 8:30 to however long that went this morning.
Yeah, I usually 15-20 minutes, but the thing is I used to be really stickler on time. 15 minutes up, done. And then I met this guy named Aaron. He just is like, whatever, man. If you ain't got nothing after you can go as long until you have that.
Bonus time, baby. Bonus time.
And then the whole pizza topic came up.
Oh yeah, and that sent you down a rabbit hole that you
which
just can't climb out of.
I will take pictures. I'm gonna have some pineapple on pizza tonight.
Oh my god!
Yeah,
so you're going to the dark side, man. What's going on?
Hey, it's been longer than I can remember. I put it this way: it's been far enough away that I don't remember it. So maybe I can give it a second chance now, because when you have that experience, you're like, oh my god, that's horrible. I'm never having that again, and that sticks with you. And then there's times you're like, yeah, why don't I like broccoli? And why don't I like broccoli? I got to figure that out. And you're like, oh yeah, that's why I don't like broccoli.
Because it tastes like, well, I've tried pineapple on pizza several times, and it's still never as good. So enjoy. I'll leave you.
I think it's a texture thing that I'm just not down with. I think I'm just, I don't know, warm fruit. I don't know, because I can grill peaches and I can do grilled pineapple. Like when I do it on my ham. I can do that. So I'm going to suck it up and take one for the team tonight.
All right. You do it. All right. So let's see. We've got Chuck checking in.
What's up, Chuck?
And hello, Mo. Thanks for being here. And then Mo says, don't do it. You don't have to prove that to anyone.
Got to prove it to myself.
And then we've got Facebook user or
F you Facebook user. And remember, if you are a Facebook user, that's because, hey, StreamYard doesn't play nice with Facebook. So the best thing to do is head over to liveosg.com, head over to YouTube, boom, we'll be able to see you rock solid and be good to go there.
Yep. You can also try oursuccess.group/Facebook, and that will give StreamYard permission to show your name. Possibly. It doesn't always work.
Because we can talk about that. Here's what it is. Today's the 2nd of the month. Yep. It seems like a lot of people every month they have to do it. So I don't know if something happens with that, but I can see that being the reason why. And 2, if you're doing anything with a third-party app or anything like that, Facebook sometimes just doesn't go along with it. I know that I've noticed that since I've become a creator, or in the what are they calling it now? Professional mode. Since I became in the professional mode, that if I do anything through a third-party app, that's when it shows up as Facebook user as well, which is kind of silly. It's a Facebook thing that I'm using, right? It's not a third-party thing. It's Facebook. I'm using you, and now you're not letting me join groups. You're not letting me comment on myself. Really makes me want to get. But hey, there's some benefits to it, I guess. So we'll see how it all plays out.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Facebook user says cooked broccoli is gross. It smells like hot garbage. See, I'm a huge fan of steamed broccoli actually myself. So I get that instead of fries when we get a Red Robin.
See, so I can remember I can remember broccoli, and it was a thing my mom would always, have there. But there was always the cheese sauce to go on it, so you had to put the cheese sauce on it, so it kind of negated the
Yeah, that's a good
broccoli
point.
part of it.
Yeah, it's a good
But
point.
it was that and Brussels sprouts, and as in my adult years, I have got more in the Brussels sprout game, and this past weekend, I kind of said, you know what, I need to get back in my cooking ways and get rid of our standard menu and start adding some new stuff to it. So that's going to start next week, I believe.
Some Brussels sprouts. I like a good grilled asparagus, maybe a little lemon butter with some good veggies. I do like a cooked veggie, but not a cooked. But like you said, grilled peaches. I can see that like a peach cobbler. There you go. But
Apple pie.
Apple pie. Yeah. But as Mo says here, pineapple texture, too much juice on bread. Yeah. You had me before pineapple, Mo. So
I'm right there with you. I'm not arguing anybody. To say, hey, you need to go do this. I'm just doing it to the benefit of the people. And
all right, that's good. That's good. So it was Janessa over there on Facebook. So thanks for joining us over here on YouTube, Janessa. Thank you.
Yes.
And Chuck said, I missed you on Condi today. Yeah, I think you can go back and rewatch it. I hadn't looked at it yet, but I'm sure that's the way they have that all there. So
because I think it was through YouTube as well. So it should be there on their YouTube channel.
Yeah, I think if you go to conditv.com, you should be able to find it over there.
And I believe I did share it in the group. So if I shared it in the group, then that link should be
should still be the same
too.
Okay. All right. Well, the one link I did share with people that were watching, just in case you want to go check it out, oursuccessgroup.com/Condi, CONDE. That'll give you the affirmations guide that I was talking about over there on that. Some of you guys may have gotten it. I've had that out for a while, but if you just want to make sure you got the right one, you can go over to oursuccessgroup.com/Condi and put in your information there, and you'll get emailed that affirmations guide, how to set affirmations, plus a bunch of examples and stuff like that. So pretty cool little tool to help with goal setting. A big part of goal setting, what we talked about with David there on Condi TV today, was the fact that it's got to be something that we believe, that we can deep down believe that we can do. And so a big part of that is affirmations. And we talked about some techniques to get there and how to build momentum and things like that. So it was fun. It was a great conversation with David for sure.
Yeah, one of the, you had brought up the slight edge, and one of the things there was, that rule of 5, and that's why, when I do my morning lives, I need those 5 things from you, I need 5.
Yep.
And the big thing that I've taken away from that is they don't need to be like these crazy big things, right?
No.
It's just like, hey, I'm going to tie my shoes today. You're going to do these things.
Yeah.
And I think it makes a world of a difference when you set yourself up with that. Start the morning off. Here's the things I'm going to get accomplished today. And you don't have to stop at 5, but here's my top 5 that I'm going to do. I mean, on mine, I have got, I'm still got a couple more things to do because, this was one of them. And then the office hours was one of them. So those are on there. But a couple of the other ones, I'm kind of in a holding pattern because I had to send emails and I'm waiting on replies for it. But they're partway done. So I can let those be passable because I've started on it. So I'm waiting on people's responses to be able to give a correct answer on things.
Yep. Okay, let me check mine too. So one thing on that, Todd, just to kind of share with everybody another quick tip on that, because you're exactly right. And honestly, not that I don't love to get onto your morning vlog and just participate, but another place to share my top 5 too helps with that accountability. So when you're setting those top 5, just make sure that there are 5 things that will get you closer to your goal. Like Todd says, they're not to be big, huge things, but if your goal is to increase the get to a certain sales number or get to a certain profit number or something like that, So, okay, I'm going to call 1 customer today, or I'm going to, do 1 social media post today. I'm going to, schedule 5 social media posts a day for the next week, something like that. So they don't have to be massive, but they do need to be something that's getting you closer to your goal, right? To your goals, I guess that would be a better way to say that. So,
Yeah, because it's like stairs, right? I mean, you're here in the bottom floor, and you need to get to the top floor. And how do you get there? 1 step at a time.
Exactly. Yep. All right. Hey, we're tuning in. Appreciate you joining us here.
Thanks, Ryan.
Yep, definitely. All right, Todd. Well, should we get into the questions, or what do we want to do
Yeah,
here?
I think we got it all set up so we can get into some questions and see what we can bang out for some answers.
All right.
We'll do it
So,
really quick.
number one here. Why would I go with a 24 or wider sublimation printer if my press is only 16 by 20? Wouldn't I need a bigger press?
Ooh, so you want to take this one first? You want me to take it
Sure.
first? Which one do you
Yeah,
want
I can. I'll take a good, quick first crack at it. First and foremost, so if you don't go with 24-inch, what's your option? Right, you got to maybe a 13 by 19, right? Okay, so you're there. I see that too. So okay, but what's the cost of a 13 by 19 versus a 24-inch? So that would be the next thing I'd look at. And then last but not least, it has nothing to do with how wide you're printing. It has to do with the efficiency of what you are printing. Right. So how many, what does it cost me to print on a 24-inch wide printer that is roll fed? So I can use just the amount of paper, right? So, and you can even put in narrower rolls if you really need to, but but when you're sheet feeding it, 13 by 19 sheet, if you're printing a 3-inch by 3-inch ceramic ornament, you're using a whole sheet. So again, there's definitely a lot of yins and yangs, but a 24-inch printer is going to be just a little more efficient ultimately. But that's my quick take. Todd, your thoughts?
So on this, one, by not only efficient but cost effective too.
Yes.
Because you're going to be, I think, it's pretty standard. The bigger printer you go, the less it costs to print. Almost because those are made to print. Those
Correct.
things are made to just truck through and print. So your cost to print is going to be lower. Now, if you have a 16 by 20 press, what do I need a 24-inch wide printer for? Well, I can print multiple things on that. So, when you're printing your one sheets through your 13 by 19 printer, okay, that's what a lot of people do. There's no issues with that. You can print more on this. So you can gang things up, just like you would, on a smaller one. But say you wanted to do something bigger, right? You have that ability to go 24 inches wide, which is really what, 22? Is that about what you?
It's not that bad. It's like 23.53 inches on the Epson 570. Yeah.
Because like on my 54-inch, even though it's 54-inch, about 52 and a half is my good margins, to stay within inside that. So you're able just to print let's say it is 22, easy number, 22, and go. They just have a length max on it, 60. And so you wanted something that was 120 inches.
Yep.
It's 10 feet long. You could do it. You're not splicing things together. So when people are doing these all over shirts, you're able to do that. Now, when it comes to the press, you can build a shuttle, right? A shuttle. That's what it is.
Something like that. Yeah, I think that.
Where you can put things that are bigger than your press on that and do multiple presses on it. So you don't need the big press to go for it. Now, that to me is more of a pain in the butt than anything because you're spending more time on it and you're taking way bigger risks to screw it up. So that's where the bigger press comes in. So if you're doing bigger things, blankets, towels, all over apparel, what am I missing? What are some other common beach towels?
Towels, yep.
Anything like that requires that, then that's when you're going to want to go the bigger press. And even on that, when we were looking in the fall at a couple of the ones, they were at 33 by 44. You still weren't getting into the towel and blanket part of things because
you were really just doing baby blankets. You weren't getting into any real blankets. So
all over shirts that you could do, doormats, car mats, things like that you could do on that one. But if you really want to go on those bigger items, the blankets, pillows, and that's when you need to look at the roll to roll and that's where you'll see some really efficiencies in it. The other thing too that I haven't done the comparison. Let's go a Sawgrass, SG1000, which is about $1,600 now. I think that sounds about right.
Sounds about right. I don't know.
And a 24-inch wide Epson F570 is going to be about $2,500, $2,600, somewhere right around there. It's about $1,000 more. What we need to look at is what the ink cost is too. Because your supply costs. Maybe if your supply costs are a lot less, then before too long, that pays for itself. So you may have paid more out of pocket up front, but you're saving in the long run because the ink and supplies are cheaper. So definitely, there's pluses and minuses with it. The minuses I think are very few.
Yeah.
When somebody asks me the printer that they want to get, ask them, how big of a space do you have and what's your budget?
Yeah.
Right? If
Yeah.
you got a desktop, go with that. And even in that thing, Epson still hasn't released that mid-tier one. So you can go in the Epson small one that's you're only going to do what 8.5 by 11, or I think
14.
it might go longer.
I think you can do an 8.5 by 14, but
14, but you're not getting wider. So
Yeah.
You're going to run into that issue. So Epson has that. The 170 and the 570. That's
they need I think it was a 370 I kept hearing about, but it's still
370.
not.
That's what I kept hearing too. That it was going to be that mid-tier one, and it was going to be, if they did that, I think that would be a total game changer for them, because then a lot of people would put the third-party places out of business. Not really out of business, but if they have that and it's a standalone one and it's an Epson, it does 13 by 19, I think that price point would probably be in that. It's going to be between 1,000 and 1,500. I think it wouldn't be right there with the Sawgrass, but it's going to be pretty close to it. But then, man, you got a sublimation ready printer, and you get a warranty, and that's some great things to look at.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, that would be a game changer. So yeah, I mean, the other thing, Todd, I'm glad that you brought up the cost thing. I didn't really touch on that very well, because even back before there was the Epson F570, before there was a 24-inch option, I remember when we would talk to folks that, if they were doing enough sublimation, it was not that big of a jump to get in. We used to sell an RJ 900, the Muto printer, as a sublimation printer. And, so that's a 44-inch wide printer, but the cost of the ink, I mean, you were talking at the time you could get liters of ink for about $75 to $90 a liter. And if you started doing the math on that, by the time you replaced sets of cartridges on that Sawgrass printer like 4 or 5 times, I can't remember exactly the number, but 4 or 5 times, you were basically covering the cost, the cost difference between that Sawgrass system and that 44-inch wide printer. So, and then when you got 44-inch wide, I mean, just think how much more efficiency you're going to get out of that, how much faster things are printing for you, and you're going to cut stuff down anyways. So, it's kind of part of the process. I think, so great points there, Todd, for sure.
Yeah. I think it's one where, you got to do what's best for your business in the long run. What space do you have? What's your budget? And, think about that. One of our goals is we'll get, 44-inch wide sub printer this year, that just so, we can add that to the print lineup and be able to do it. It's an amazing thing to have.
I might have a lead for you on a 44-inch Muto RJ 900, actually.
Ooh,
anyhow, we'll talk. When you come out here, we'll talk.
Awesome.
Maybe show it to you. All right. All right. Let's see here. So Travis, Travis checking in. Jose checking in. Travis says F570 all day. Another Facebook user, good evening.
F you.
And then Chuck says, I'm using a Workforce 7720 with Epson subbing. Is it Epson sublimation ink though?
I don't know.
Yeah, that would. I'd be curious if it's actually Epson branded sublimation ink.
I wouldn't know
and how that would work.
I wouldn't see why it would work.
I guess you're just pouring F570 ink into it.
Yeah, you're just
pouring
that
cut
in.
The caps off or something. Because they're sealed, so they don't. I don't know. Interesting. I'm curious. I don't know. I'd love to.
Because if it's the sub ink and if it's like how's it come? Because it could come if it comes with a lid like that. You're just
it comes with a special lid that you put into their bulk system, so it doesn't spill. Yeah, and you have to actually cut it off to get it to pour the ink out.
Yeah, that's what this is, because it's got that weird lid inside there, so that way it punctures when it goes inside there.
Gotcha.
So that could very well be.
I'm curious.
Me too.
Chuck says yes. So you're using F570 ink and just cutting the heads off of them. Interesting.
That is I think that's a great idea. Because now you're using, Epson ink and an Epson printer. I mean, it's not
the heads are tuned differently, but I mean, you're definitely got a much less particulate heavy ink at that point. They definitely get how their piezo heads run. So I like that, Chuck. Interesting. I never even thought of that. So
Neither
thanks
did
for
I.
sharing.
I honestly never thought of it. Like,
Yep.
it makes total sense.
Yep.
You know, something else here. Whoever, if you're here, if you were able to share in any of the groups, go for it. Because I noticed that it's not letting me once again share in the group. Amazing. I try and do it, and it says an error occurred. Wait a moment, and try again. And I went and looked
Which one are we talking about here? Just in
the business success group.
Huh.
It's not
Okay.
letting me. I was like, "What's going
let
on?"
me try.
You try. See what you get.
All right, I'm doing it now.
Do it.
Let's see.
Right.
Sorry.
So you do that, and Chuck says it comes in a bottle, and you have to use a syringe. Put it in the third-party cartridges. Yep.
Huh.
So syringe it out, and you go from there. It's the same thing that we do with ours.
I'm getting an error too going to this success group. So
yep, amazing. That's what I said. You know, I don't. It went to everywhere else that it needed to. Just interesting.
All right. Good times. All right, let me try one last time.
See, you're gonna try and do that.
Nope.
All right, so while I try to do that, I'll pull up. What's the next one? Ooh, this is a. Let me.
You got it.
For whatever reason, I can't spell, so let me add a letter so it makes sense.
All right,
so
we get that. So, there you go.
And then I can put that. There we go. Can you sublimate glass? Ooh. So,
good question. Go ahead, Todd.
It has to be coated. So glass has to be coated. You just can't sublimate any glass. You can't go to Dollar Tree and pick up mugs and glasses and think you're going to sublimate on them, right? They need to be coated. So that's the big kicker. The other thing too is because we've done some glass. I'm not super fond of it, and the reason being is because it's clear. There's no white, so it's pretty see-through. It's very see-through. It's very translucent because there's no white backing it up on it.
Yeah.
Now there are some. I've seen some glasses where they have a white box on them,
patch.
That we can do that. But as far as just doing it, I mean, it can be a cool look, but I'm not the most fond of it.
Yeah.
But on things like glass blocks, cutting boards, things like that, you're able to do those from the backside, and those things, man, because it's got that coating on it.
Yeah.
Fabulous. I love how those things turned out.
Yeah. You're exactly right, Todd. When it comes to glass, it absolutely has to be coated. And then, like you said, sublimation inks are translucent, so we don't want to get real deep into color theory here, but we could, right? So when you're seeing color, you're not actually seeing a color, you're seeing that as a reflection off of something else. So when we print on something that's white, that white, whatever that white is, if it's a brilliant white versus more of a dull white, that's going to change the colors on top. And so when you've got no white in it, right, it's just clear, all you're seeing is that tint of the pigment. So black lettering on glass, you can kind of see, but if you get any lighter colors, it doesn't really work. I'm like, if you were sublimating onto something that was made to drink milk out of, then go for it all day, right? Because you're going to get that white background to it. But
I think the best way to kind of describe it, something recently that we did was we subbed on that laminate to put on the canvas.
Yeah.
And that laminate was a clear thing. So you could sublimate on that laminate. You could see here, this is what it's going to look like on something clear.
Yeah.
You need that white background to it. Otherwise, it's just going to not look there.
Yeah.
The other thing, too, is if you were to sub, and I'm sure they don't have them because why would they? But if anything, it has a color to it, it's totally going to change your color, right? Yeah. Like if you have a pink polyester shirt, right? Let's go yellow. Let's go
with
yellow.
A yellow shirt. Yep.
Yellow polyester shirt. We put a blue logo on it. What's going to happen to that logo?
You get a green logo.
Magic, right? Total magic.
Yellow and blue makes green. Yay.
And I see it more times than not where people are like, this doesn't make any sense to me because there's no.
Or the other one is, you do like a light blue shirt and then you go to print a soccer ball on it and you don't have white panels in your soccer ball. Yeah, because there's no white and you're just going to see that through it. So, that's a good point. So, glass is, like you said, it's special projects for sure, trying to do like glass mugs and things like that. Most of them you do see out there, like Todd mentioned, they're screen printing a white box on it first and then coating over the top of that. And then the other thing I guess I've noticed about glass, because that surface is a little bit smoother and softer than some of the other things that they coat, the coatings aren't as durable. They're not nearly as dishwasher resistant if you're doing on like I said, mugs and stuff like that. So things become hand wash only in that scenario. And so those are some of the challenges to watch out with for glass.
Yeah.
But I know Condi has some pretty cool glass, they do, like, you can do one of those glass. It's not glass. It's more, I don't know if it's more of like an acrylic. I can't remember what Condi calls it, but then you have like a wood cutout that's got like a little bit of a loop in it. And I don't know if you've ever seen this. So you sublimate it, comes off there at 400 degrees. You set it in that template, and then you get this curved kind of picture look.
Oh yeah. So for people that want to do it themselves,
yeah,
you can get that. You can get the acrylic. You can get the templates. You can get that, and it's just because it's hot. It's pliable, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when they did the curved acrylic, because they have the curved thing, you get the acrylic, it gets hot, and then it goes in there. You put the two pieces together, or you can just be like me, and you can get a pan, or you can get a what the hell is that? A paint can, because it's already round. You put it over that, and it'll also form.
Oh, cool! I remember. Actually, I do remember that on Tuesdays with Todd. That's right.
So and so I've known people who have kind of they're woodworkers, and they've kind of built their own. If done any metal work, it's kind of the same thing where you're building. What is that? The shoe
Jig.
and the chuck? Is that how?
Oh yeah. No, yep, exactly.
And you're just making your own, and so there's a lot of fun things that you can do with it, but it's going to take a lot of testing with it, which is why a thing from Condi is $50. They've tested it, they've gotten it through it, everything's going to work every time for it, and that's what you pay for. Because yes, that may seem expensive. Holy crap, I'm going to spend $50 on this.
Yeah,
but hey, how many times can you use that? That's the thing, because there's really no mechanical parts to it. It's just there it is. You're set. You don't have to worry about it breaking down or anything. Those things are, and I've seen a lot of people where those are just out the box things, and there's not a lot of people that do them, and so they've got very specialty at it. So here, let's get it and put it out there.
Yeah. Travis said tried glass pint glasses and hated them. Had the white on them, but the boxes were inconsistent and chipped away really easily. Yeah, I've heard that same thing. Shot glasses have always been tough for sublimators, because like the ones I end up being like the ceramic ones that are more like a sake shot glass kind of thing. Yeah.
In fact, I don't have one of those close by, but what I like for glass is like those glass blocks. That's
cool.
Any of the picture things, because that's clear. And it's the white, and it amazes me that it starts white, and then you put your image on it, and it comes through the other side.
Yeah.
The thing that you will have to remember when doing these, and you have not been a sublimator until you've done this, is your entire sublimation career. What do you do to your print?
You invert it.
That's right. So when it comes to this, what do you forget to do?
Uninvert it. Yes.
That's right.
Uncheck the mirror box.
And a lot of times you don't notice it until it's something with words or something where the setting is setting where it needs to go.
Yeah, because the one you got in your hand, you could do it either way, and nobody would really probably notice.
Right. Yep. Nobody would even notice. I mean, if they really looked and saw, oh, why is her ring on the right finger?
Exactly.
Oh yeah, you would totally get that. But the first place that when I first started getting the sublimation, that I noticed that it was an issue was actually from Condi at a trade show with their Condi kiosk, and we were going through stuff, and they're like, "Here, we can print this out and put it on there." And like, okay, and I got them like images backwards on it, and they're like, "Oh crap, we weren't supposed to put those in," because they're just printing to show stuff, so they didn't even think that's not the smartest thing to have in here to show you can put it on there. But I mean the glass, I love looking at it, but the amount of value that's in that, I mean the glass for awards, plaques, pictures like this, super high end. That's the greatest thing about sublimation is yes, there's an art to it. Yes, there is a learning curve with it, but is it terribly hard? No. You can do it. And, photos, things like this, where you could reach out to a photographer. Everybody has a photographer friend. Everybody does. You can reach out to them and say, hey, we can offer prints like this for you guys. We'll cut you in on the deal. You give them a break on it. They sell it. Everybody makes money all the way around, and you offer cool things like that. So, just another thing to do. And it's been a while since I did some, so I should check out and see what's new, if there's anything new out there for that. And it's the same way with the glass plaques. Those are really cool for on the business side of things.
Yeah.
The commemorative times, 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, awards, things like that, because they just look cool. There's something about just looking through that sideways and just seeing
Yeah.
that I find super
But
fascinating.
it's a depth thing. It's totally a depth thing.
Yep.
I mean, our eyes are tuned for that, right? We like to see the depth. And in fact, I think this was on Two Rare Guys podcast when we had David Gross on there. He was talking about even the fact that one of the things that makes the Chromolux panels so highly used in the photography world, because they do have such a thick coating on them that you're actually getting the light bouncing back off the white and creating extra depth, and so that the pictures look like they pop more than they would on just a regular aluminum panel with smaller, less coating on it. So so those glass blocks are perfect for that, because you get that depth, you get that bounce of the light off of that.
And people say you can't do this on a clamshell. I'm showing you can. Depending on your clamshell, you have to know where your placement is, and it'll take some time to figure out. But once you have it, you can totally do it on it.
Totally. All right, good stuff there, Todd. Let's see. Oh yeah, Travis said, okay, did that with ornaments this past Christmas. Ha ha ha. He said, look great, but the text on their shirt was backwards.
Yeah. That's when you usually catch it. And I mean, there's a lot of places that send stuff out that way because, it just doesn't click, and it's like, hey, this there. And you're like, yep, here's why. And here's how it happened. And, and that's the other thing too, is on the flip side of that, how many times, if you knew and you forgot to mirror your image when you went to press it, and you're like, oh, that's what it is there. I ran into it with my software here, even on the DTF side, because I was mirroring everything before it went into the RIP program, because I was just like, that was one extra step it had to do. So I can just mirror my program, and then it'll just go and take care of that for me, right?
Yeah.
Well, on the new one, the function takes care of itself. So I just have to send the PNG, hit F11, does everything for me. Do, and something printed out. I'm like, and I'm looking at it, I'm like, oh, that looks great. All right, cool. Everything's covered. And then when it came off the roll, I'm like, what the hell? Because, the mirror got me on it.
Yeah. Well, when you talk about with sublimation like that, Todd, that to me, though, then is another reason, I get it. If you're a sublimator and you haven't messed up the mirroring once, then you're not really a sublimator. But at the same time, this also is a really good reason why it's important to really kind of get a base of products that you're really good at. And that, so if you're going to be doing some glass, then you're going to have a different process for that. Right. You're going to have a different print setting. Obviously, you're going to have that check mark that, hey, I need to uncheck the mirror button or whatever it is for your software, and having a process for that. So, that's where we get into trouble, is when we try to do 27 different things all in the same time. And we're having to switch settings, but, we're trying to be efficient. And so if you can, just gang up and do all of your glass and things where you don't need a mirror as one production run, so you're printing that and that you're in that process, that's going to be a lot more efficient than let's try this, we got to remember to switch it again, and all this other stuff. So yeah, get focused and get some things that you're really good at, and then you can add the glass or whatever. So
absolutely. Well, a great example of that is, Kylene focused on one SKU for Christmas, right?
No.
And how many of that one SKU did she do?
5,000.
5,000.
Yeah, the crazy part is they're still coming. So we're getting closer to 6,000 already.
So if she would have had 10 different things with 10 different settings, how much of a nightmare would have that been? That's the thing. It's a great thing where she only has to sell one thing, right?
Yeah.
I just got to sell a bunch of one thing, and I can nail that. Because the other thing that I will bet I'll bet my phone on it, that I'm sure the longer that she did them and the more that she did, that spoilage rate came down to next to real nothing, because you just get consistent on it.
Exactly. Yeah. It got down to, by the end, 0.01%.
And I would say that percent, that 0.01%, wasn't even her. It's probably the defect in the product itself, because a lot of, they have bad stuff when it comes to us, there's not enough coating on it, something's there. Yeah. So it's really not us so much, as it is, the product that we get in. So when you nail that process down, you just be, ornament queen, just kill it.
Yeah. Yeah. One was her. One was what you just said, a defect. It actually was chipped after it came out. So the code, there was a piece that was loose, and then the third one was me. I printed the wrong thing. So, yeah. No, and that you're exactly right though. I mean, just getting into that and getting it, because from the point where we started to where, we were when we were in the thick of things, the process had changed. I mean, we kind of figured out, okay, we actually ended up putting registration marks
Mm-hmm.
around it in the middle, and that made lining up these things so much faster. We shaved a ton of time off of the lining up of the substrate onto the transfer by just adding the center registration marks to it. So just figuring out little things like that will make a world of difference for your production. And then we were able to, like, okay, because one of the big challenges is, even though you're doing one of one product, we still had to ship it out to 5,000 different people.
Yeah.
And, so kind of coordinating that and getting it all together while you're trying to do big batch runs. We got a barcode on the print, on the transfer. So we didn't have to worry about matching it all up. We kept the transfer paper with the ornament when it was done, scanned the barcode, shipped it out.
And now that was done through your RIP software, right?
Correct. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
if somebody doesn't have that, what you can do is you can do that on your own, and you can set up
Yep.
your sheets for it. And remember, this is another reason why the wide format's amazing, because it's a lot cheaper to print.
Yep.
Because when you go to on sheets, you are going to lose some spacing on it.
Yep.
The other thing too is when you do that, you got to remember to flip the barcode, right? Because otherwise it's going to print in reverse.
Yep,
And so then it's not going to scan right. So
the software does that automatically. It actually puts that part in right reading, and then the other side's flipped. And yeah, so yeah, we use the Wasatch RIP for that. So you've got that functionality in there. So
see, another amazing reason
Yep.
to go wide format.
Yep. Totally. All right, cool. So let's ready to move on.
Yeah, let's move on, because we got stuff to do in like 20 minutes.
I know. All right. This is going to be for you. I know enough to be dangerous here, so I'm going to let you lead on this one. Is a 45-degree or 60-degree blade better for vinyl cutting?
So I'm team 45. That's the only blade I use. I haven't used a 60 in I couldn't tell you how long.
Yeah.
It's been so long. 60, they say is good for thicker material and more intricate details. I will tell you, I have cut magnet and I have cut brick with my 45, no problem, no double cuts, no nothing. It all came to a pressure setting. So do you need a second blade? I mean, maybe if you were just cutting thick material all the time or intricate stuff all the time, I would say sure. But if you're running your mill stuff, your 45 is going to be fine. Because the time I feel that you waste in setting up to pull out your blade and set a new 60 up there, plus let's not forget you're going to have to buy another blade holder. And for whatever reason, that piece of plastic that's this big, they don't like to give those things away. Those are some cashy things.
Yeah.
And there's not a lot to them when you comparative to what's out there. So I'm a Team 45 guy. It's the only, like I said, it's the only blade I use, and the blades that I use are the super sharp ones. Super sharp RLZ 45. I get these from Wensco. Now, I do know people that get their 45-degree blades off Amazon, eBay, things like that, which we have done and will continue to do on the Roland, because we burn through them. Because if you want to do the contour cut, and I don't want to have to, I can, instead of doing I don't even know what I don't do it anymore. That's how long it's been. If I want to do, what's the dash cuts, where the perf cut.
Perf cut.
Yeah. I don't even perf cut because it's such a pain in the rear to do. So I just up my pressure and just cut through it. So I'll burn through blades faster and I'll burn through cutting strips faster.
Yeah.
And at that thing, you can get blades cheap, but just know they're cheap and you're going to be changing them once a week, every 2 weeks, something like that. So there's my thing.
All right. Well, I'll just, like I said, that definitely Todd's area of expertise more so than me, but I will give a little inside baseball here that I heard and just sharing what I heard. So when I was involved more with vinyl cutters, I was a reseller of the GraphTech product. And, the gentleman from GraphTech would help us out in the booth. And, he was always there to answer questions and stuff like that. And I was talking to him about this exact question right here. And he said, basically what you said, but he said, here's the deal. We just don't even talk about the 60-degree blade because they felt like, they're the GraphTech and the way it was built. And I can't remember all the technical details of it, but how it cut, that the 45 was fine. And he said, people normally talk about 60 degree blades when they have a little less quality of a cutter. Now, what that cutter is, I don't know, and I didn't want to get into all that stuff. But yeah, I think you're right.
I think probably what they're saying is any of the stepper motor ones.
Yeah.
If it sounds like there's an angry bee in your office, that's a stepper motor.
Yeah.
If you can't hear yours, that's a servo.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with the stepper ones. That's what we started with. You start with what you can, what your budget can afford. And actually, I heard somebody's the other day. I'm like, God, I don't miss that sound at all. But at the same, every time I heard it, I learned to love it because that means it was just making money. That was the sound of money being made. Yep. And there's a lot of brands that are out there for it. From any of your craft cutters, your Crickets, your Cameos, your Solos, any of those, and they can do amazing things.
Yeah.
But you're going to get a smoother operation when you go to that servo.
Yeah. Okay. The one other thing I will share about vinyl cutting that I learned is and you mentioned it briefly there when you were talking about your Roland. A lot of times cutting issues or challenges that you might be having have very little to do with the blade and everything to do with your cutting strip. Having a, I mean, when you're getting it where it's cutting too deep or whatever, most of the time that's cutting strip issues. So,
yeah. And a lot of it, like I tell people, is look at where your issue is in your print. Is it a consistent location where it's doing the exact same thing? And this part of the print, 6 inches over from the end, it is doing this every time it goes over. Cutting strip issue. Cutting strip issue. That's what it's going to be because that's the consistent problem. Consistent problems are easy to figure out because there's a consistent problem. When it's a sporadic one, those ones are a little hard to trace. But if I know I'm cutting something and this section, every time I cut here, that it goes deeper in the vinyl or it doesn't go as deep. Yeah, that's when we suggest go ahead and replace your cutting strip. As a matter of fact, I think I have. Where did I just picked one up so that way I was to set it out so I would remember that I need to change a cutting strip this week.
And then it got put away.
Oh no, I set it over on there. That's okay. It's like I pulled it out from here and I set it over there. But they're super simple. It's it's basically a 3M tape. There's a tape that's on there. So you unroll it or you peel up your other one, use your pick, peel it up, pull it off, put a new one on there, put it down, done. Super simple, super easy, little maintenance. If you're a consistent user, I would venture to say, I could be wrong. I could be totally wrong. I'd say 90% of the people haven't changed their cutting strip that are using it, because they don't think about it. They don't know about it. Their first assumption is go to the blade. I need to change the blade, not even doing the cutting strip. So, it's something good to do,
Yeah. You really should be changing your cutting strip way more often than you change your blade. In fact, unless you're really tearing up your blade, doing some of the stuff that you were talking about there, Todd, there's really not a huge reason to be changing out your blade that much if you're not doing real heavy, big stuff. So, all right. Reese says, I have a GCC Expert 24 and still don't know how to use it. So, all right.
Just send stuff to it. Hey, they're like this GraphTech apparently does all kinds of fun stuff. All I know is I hit send and it cuts things. It can probably do other stuff too. I have done some registration stuff with it. There's not a whole lot of, I should totally do a video on that because there's not a whole lot out there that shows how to set up for reading registration on that. And it does it, I've done it a few times, but it's
sensors,
just, it's just one of those things that I haven't done a whole lot of. I just know this is it does what I need it to do, and do I need it to know anymore? No, because and then I go down that rabbit hole. So when we hit this, it does that. We're good.
Yeah, there you go. All right, let's we got time for one more here, Todd.
All right.
We could maybe get two in, but we'll see. I need a new heat press. Is one brand better than another?
You want to go first? You want me to go first?
Go ahead.
All right. So for me, the best heat press for you is the one you can afford. you know, know where you buy it from and the quality you're going to get. Amazon, eBay, things like that. You might have issues with those.
Yeah.
You know, those are those, and they have gotten better in the years. I have noticed that. You know, in the past couple of years, things have gotten better. But anymore, you can get, you know, from a place like Heat Press Nation, from us with the StarCraft, you know, the Caesar one, you know, any of the, what is the Velour, something like that, Fancier Studio. You know, those are going to be, you know, your low to mid tier ones, and they work. Just sometimes not all of them work all the time. I know people that have some of the Amazon ones, and they've been going strong and consistent on 5+ years now. But to me, build quality, things like that, you know, the support that gets behind it and a warranty with it, you know, is kind of where I'm at with it. I've had a Hicks, haven't had any problem with it. I've had the stalls, don't have any problem with it. Now, I do know that some people have had issues on the stalls and the electronic side of things, like that little control board and things like that, because that's the thing. The more electrical components you add to anything, the more chance it takes to break down. You know, that's why my Hicks is, I wonder if I could date code that bad boy, because that one has an analog temperature gauge. So like you would stick in a turkey, right? That's what it has there. It doesn't have a digital temp reading. It's a dial, so it's 1 through 10, and you just got to turn in and you got to guess, and that's why you're there, maybe, you know. So, but that thing will probably last. I've had to replace. It was a fuse that was in it, and this is how long ago I had to do that. It was Radio Shack, because we had some issues with that, and I was able to take it in there, and they were able to get me the parts because I had a fuse in the power switch. The rocker switch wasn't working right in it, and they said that was no longer production. This will carry over and work towards it. And Radio Shack, God, I miss Radio Shack. You know, they got me back up and running for it, and I bet. So that press is the first press that I got, and if we've been doing this 16 years now, 15, 16 years, I got it then, and that thing was probably 10, 15 years old at that time. You know, so that thing's 20, 30 years old easily, and it still works just fine.
Yeah, I agree with you there, Todd, that, you know, which one you can afford is definitely the right one. I would say this, that I would just kind of add this little caveat on top of it. If you are in the business to start a heat printing business, the heat press is the core centerpiece of your business. That is what is going to make you money. And so if you invest in that heat press, you're going to be better off, right? You're going to have less spoilage. You're going to be more efficient, you know. So even though maybe you think that, you know, I can't afford a Stalls, a Hicks, a George Knight, you know, any of those, I'm trying to think what's the, Insta would be another kind of what I would consider the big four there. So we got Hicks, George Knight, Stalls, Hotronics, same thing, and Insta. I think those are kind of the big four U.S. manufacturers, right? So, or at least full warranty, lifetime warranty on their heat platens on all of those. So if you feel like you can't afford one of those, take another look though, and just see, because like Todd said, that Hicks, you know, I remember, I don't, doesn't really matter when. At one point I was talking to somebody at a trade show, I think it was at the Dax, Minnesota show years back, and they were talking about their Hicks that they had, and they said that they've been using it every day for 30 years, and it still works just like it did from the day they bought it 30 years ago. Right. And so you think about what that costs, you know, maybe that cost them $2,000 back then. Divide that by every day by 30 years. How much did that cost them? How much money have they made with that thing? So, you know, it's definitely, like Todd said, get what you can afford, but try to afford more than you think you can and see how that's going to serve you in the long run.
Well, and the thing is they're not crazy expensive. I mean, you can get a good heat press, you know, under $1,000. You know, you can get a good one under that. And if it is the backbone piece to your business, then I mean, spend the money. And I'm saying, if you can only afford $200 or $300, and that's what you can afford, no problem. But just, hey, every job that you get, take $10, $20, take as much as you can from that and just set it aside for your press fund.
Yeah.
So that way you have it there and you can go on and get another one.
Yep.
Because like us, between the Hicks and the Stalls, and then we've got a couple of fancy studios that we still will use the 12x12s when we go places because they're small and compact, and they were cheap, they're disposable. So, get what you can afford. But just know that if you want to do this as a business, what's the best way to put this? The quality products. Well, the amount of frustration that it could cause you is not worth the price to pay for higher quality.
Yeah.
I think that something like that.
Something like that. It's just return on investment. I think at the end of the day, Todd, it boils down to the fact that, while it may cost you more up front, it's going to cost you less in the long run. Like you said, time, frustration, ruin products, right? Trying to figure out why this isn't working. Why am I pressing this vinyl and I'm always getting this one spot that never seems to work, right? Oh, well, you have a cold spot, or something happened with the electronics or whatever. And then like you talked about, support I think is another thing that's huge. Even with the Hotronics, like you said, some of those, I know people too that have had challenges with the fusions because there's so many parts and pieces in there, but at the end of the day they will support that and they take care of it, and they're there to make sure that things are squared away and you're keeping that investment making money as opposed to becoming a boat anchor. So
boat anchor for sure.
All right, well, I think we've got one question, but we'll leave that for next time because we're going to run out of time otherwise here. And so I didn't really look at the calendar yet, but let's just.
Next week is training, right?
Yeah. So 23rd of March will be the next Q&A.
23rd March.
So, 1, 2, 3 weeks away. I don't know why I had to count, but 3 weeks odd for people. If you have other questions, we've got one. We'll have one question in the tank, but keep them coming. oursuccessgroup.com/QA is where you can put those questions in there. And anything else, Todd?
No, I think that's it. Like I said, go out there, be productive, get stuff done, man. And then for everybody, if you're the OSG squad, if you're MOS, if you are a purchaser of the 5 keys, we got office hours starting in 6 minutes, right? Is that right?
Yep, about 6 minutes here. So yeah, we'll see you guys over there on the Zoom link. If like Todd said, if you're an OSG squad member, if you are part of the Masters of Success, or you own the 5 keys of growing and launching program, we've got that Zoom call. So if you need, if you didn't, we emailed everybody, and so you should have gotten emails about with the link and all that stuff. Check the dashboard, like Todd mentioned earlier. But you can also try to reach out. We'll do our best to look while we're getting the office hours going. But we're excited to see you guys over there. If you guys are interested in knowing more about all this, just go to oursuccessgroup.com and check that out. You can see right up at the top there the banner, oursuccessgroup.com/5 keys. That's what we're talking about. Yep, you're kind of above me, but yeah, there we go. And so, Todd, real quick on that, because you were talking about, if you do start it with a $200, $300 heat press, again, no problem. That's not, we know lots of people have been there. You've started there. I've had presses like that. That's all good. But you need to, put $10 away or put some money away. That's kind of what part of the foundation of what we do with the 5 keys is helping people build that kind of a system into their business. Not only are we going to be planning for future growth and then pricing accordingly, we're also going to plan to pay ourselves. The whole point of being a business owner is to make a living, right? I think that's a kind of, unless you just want to be a hobbyist your whole life, and that's totally cool. That's all perfect. But I don't think most people start a business to then not pay themselves, right? And just work 120 hours a week or however many there are available in the weeks.
No, and when I started, I used it for my play money. That's what it was. It was my play money. We're gonna that, and then when I realized, there's a good chance that we can make something this happen. Then, we took a run at it and dumped everything we could in it, and I have to go back and really look at the numbers because of what came in there. But I bet we dropped $30,000 to $50,000 in the business in that first year. In those first 3 years, probably 100,000, because everything that came in, we put back in it. We expanded. We did everything we could, and that allowed us to be able to be. This is it. This is it now.
Yep.
And just hear me out on this too, guys. There will be days when you have zero sales. Don't let that frustrate you, because it still happens to us. It just happens. And that's why you plan things out. Get it there. Don't be frustrated when you have those days, those weeks, or even those months. Sometimes business just comes in cycles. Use your time wisely to grow your business, and good things will happen. So I said, get out of here.
Yep, let's do it. Let's get on out. I have to hit the restroom real quick, and then I will see you guys over there on the Zoom call. So,
awesome. I'm going to do the same.
All right, Todd, good job.
All right.
We'll talk to you guys soon.
You too. See you guys.